Hello, everyone. I am live now. Shit. Sorry for being a few minutes late. My computer is a piece of shit, and it took a while to get all this set up. So, how you guys doing? How was your holidays, and how is your new year? Well, New Year's Eve, whatever time you're watching this video. If you're watching it like when in the year 2023, Happy New Year. But if you're watching it right now as I'm doing it live, well, whatever. Shit. It's been quite a year, I'm not going to lie. 2022 has passed by very fast. So much has happened, it feels like. And yeah, I don't have any idea what I'm going to talk about though. I'm heavily considering splitting some of my topics into separate videos considering there's been stuff that I've wanted to talk about that I never had a chance to. And consider the fact that this is a stream that's I don't know how long it's going to be. And for those of you who are wondering, I'm not going to have any guest until the 2 hour mark, assuming I still stream after 2 hours. So for the first 2 hours, assuming I'm going past that, it's just going to be me talking. So for those of you who don't like it when I have guests all the time and just want to hear me speak, well, I'm giving you what you want. I mean, this is the end of the year, and I think I can give my audience what they want once in a while, even though I do this mostly for myself, mostly. Now, what am I going to talk about first? There's multiple topics. Now, for the first hour or so, I'm just going to talk about something a little bit fun. And after that, I'll start gradually getting to more serious topics. I mean, it's inevitable if you're doing a stream like sorry, I lost my train of thought. Okay, I'm not gonna be able to talk about the same thing for 2 hours. It's just not gonna happen. It really isn't. So to start with, I might as well talk about Star Wars. Unfortunately, if I do a stream or video strictly on Star Wars alone, nobody's gonna watch it. I mean, everyone loves it when I rant about, oh, yeah, this is so bad. Oh, this sucks. Or these people are a bunch of neckbeards. I mean, come on. Everyone, lo- don't deny it. My audience loves it when I rant about Disney Star Wars or stupid shit people say about Disney Star Wars. Come on. That's the main thing you guys watch. It's unfortunate that my Star Wars content that I actually more passionate about, my reviews, my analysis, barely gets any attention. So, what is it I'm going to talk about? Well, I'm going to talk about a subject that don't really, I never considered before, but I thought about it carefully. And I'll have to look up the results of the poll, considering the fact that it's been a few weeks since I've done it. Now, I was going to talk about whatever I wanted to talk about regardless, but considering this is the end of the year stream, and I could edit this section as a separate video. So this could be a Jedi's Cantina segment. So just give me a second as I look it up. Okay. Okay. Wow. These topics are really close. There's how I would have done the sequels. That would probably be something I'd probably do in a scripted format. So I'm definitely not going to do it here, because considering we would be here for 3 hours, if not more. So I'm not going to do that one. The imperialist conflict of the Clone Wars, an interesting topic. I'd love to talk about it. Again, I don't want to talk about that one in a live stream format. I mean, I saw was the rebellion revolutionary. At least I resaw it the other day, and it's like it'd be so much better if I had it more like in a way where I basically script it, or record it in an environment where it's not live. So definitely not that one. Now, this particular one, the one that had the second most votes, is can the sequel trilogy ever be redeemed? Now, can the sequel trilogy be redeemed? Now, the easy answer is no. But that would be lame, and I don't think anyone wants to basically hear that, because that answer has been like said a million times already, that the sequel trilogy can't be redeemed. The sequel trilogy is irredeemable. The sequel trilogy is trash. The sequel trilogy is garbage. The sequel trilogy is glorified fan fiction. It's like, we've heard it all before. And I don't find that conversation interesting. I've said this all before. Now, how could you redeem the sequel trilogy? The movies themselves, let's be honest, they're trash. There's no redeeming value in those movies. The movies are garbage. They had no vision. They were made with no soul. The movies were bad. And there's little things you can do to redeem the films. But are the characters themselves, are they irredeemable? Is Rey irredeemable? Is Poe irredeemable? Is Finn irredeemable? No. And I know people are not going to like that answer, but no. The era itself can be saved, but it will have to take a lot of hard work and a lot of good stories to make this era, at least the sequel trilogy, just to be a one bad part of it instead of the whole fucking thing. Because that's the whole reason why the sequel trilogy is just not popular. And let's just be honest with ourselves, it's not popular. And I don't and don't tell me, oh, the movies made this X amount of money. No. That doesn't mean anything. Considering if you look at what merchandise is being made, what merch sells, and it's not sequel related stuff. It's original trilogy and prequels. Hell, you got more promotions for the expanded universe when they release Essential Legends collections than anything with the sequels. Like, what was the first sequel era related thing that was released since The Rise of Skywalker, since the Poe Dameron book, the Shadows of the Sith novel, and, well, barely anyone has even mentioned that book. And I've read like a snippet of it. Terrible. And really, the only way you could redeem this era if you tell good stories. Not boring ass shit that doesn't matter. And not going backwards, because we all know everything's going to lead to the sequels at some point. I'm sorry, fans of The Mandalorian and Ahsoka, whatever shit that's going to come out in the future. The sequel trilogy is still going to happen. They're going to lead to the sequels one way or another. And I feel like the main thing you can do to save the sequel era is not doing prequels to it, but doing stories in and around this era. Now, it's a difficult thing to do, and people will say it's impossible. I disagree. There's many things you can do to redeem this era. You could give an actual story to the First Order. You could show the First Order as a reaction to the New Republic and its inadequate governing. You could showcase that there is Empire nostalgia, but by the time before The Force Awakens, that things are not going so well for the New Republic. And the way things are run, it's no better than the Old Republic. It's a repeat of what came before it. And there's a lot of potential for this. Yes, the sequel movies themselves are terrible, but you could still tell good stories that take place before, during, and after them. The thing is, for that to happen, you need good writers, writers that actually understand the universe, writers that actually know Star Wars or have a interest in telling new stories in this world. Because just sticking to what is popular is not good enough for Star Wars. The sequel trilogy era can be good if you put the effort into it. Now, how do you tell new stories in this era that isn't dog shit? How do you do that? Well, it's inevitable that some aspects of the original EU will be utilized with in a post Rise of Skywalker Star Wars. It's inevitable. It's almost impossible not to do it. Considering the amount of material that exists, you might as well use it. Don't ignore it exists, just use it. Now, I would rather have Luke Skywalker revive the Jedi Order as much as the next guy, but that's not happening in the current canon. So, how do we do it with Rey? We do it in a different way. In fact, if I have to be honest, there's things you could explore with that character where you could have her still struggle with her own darkness and her heritage, like, because that is never explored in the films themselves. Because Rey is revealed to be a Palpatine in like Rise of Skywalker, and no one seems to care about that. You could explore Finn's journey to being a Jedi. You could explore like other aspects of the Star Wars universe. As for the New Republic, oh, it's been destroyed. No. You could basically just ignore Force Awakens, that it was only one part of it that was destroyed. That there's other planets, other worlds. You could explore that there's collaborators within the New Republic that actually helped the First Order. Now, this will make it seem like, oh, they never truly won. Well, I'm sorry, but I think the idea that the First Order is gone by the end of Rise of Skywalker to be pretty goddamn stupid, considering they're still out there. It was the Final Order that was destroyed, not the First Order. Now, yes, this will inevitably lead to rehashing the EU to some extent. This will inevitably lead to a sequel era equivalent of the Thrawn trilogy. Yes, I know. I know that's what's going to happen, but to be real, there's no where you can go without diving into Rise of Skywalker territory. Ignoring the fact that Rey, Poe, and Finn exist is not going to fix these characters. These characters are only known as sequel era characters. That's all they'll be known as. It isn't like Anakin Skywalker, where, even though I disagree with what Dave Filoni did with his character, he's not known as the prequel character. Neither is Padme, neither is Obi-Wan. So you have those characters greatly expanded upon. You could do that with Rey, Poe, and Finn. Well, that's impossible because, at least in my opinion, because I don't think Lucasfilm really wants to try. Because look what happened with The Last Jedi. They had cold feet. They were basically intimidated because the fans hated what The Last Jedi did with the sequel trilogy. And the sequel trilogy is sour at this point, people's opinions on them. They're so divisive that I don't think Lucasfilm is going to do what I would do with these movies, at least make good stories before, during, and after them. Erasing them from canon is going to make them go away. They will still exist. Neither will retconning them, because, of course, I've already explained this over and over again, why retconning them is not going to be what sequel haters say it's going to mean. Retconning the films doesn't mean they're no longer going to be canon, and I know some sequel fan in the chat is going to basically, oh, they'll never retcon the sequels. It's like, well, you don't fucking know what a retcon is, first of all. I mean, if you haven't been exposed to media outside of Star Wars, you're never going to know what a retcon is. Believe me, I've been exposed to many media over the years. I know what a retcon is. A retcon doesn't mean something no longer counts. It just recontextualizes previous events. That's it. That's what retconning the sequels actually means. Unfortunately, Submoney, they're not going to do an expanded universe for the sequels. Lucasfilm doesn't. Any era that takes place after the sequels has to take place on screen. Even if they will eventually be wiped away, it would still be an opportunity for writers to take these characters to new levels. Yeah, they did. The Simpsons did some retcons multiple times. There's been some series that I followed that did retcons multiple times. Retcons aren't a bad thing. Retcons can be bad, of course, if they're done badly. If a retcon does something that recontextualizes the story of an entire series by making a character that was not important into a character, the plot is basically one of the main characters, and basically ruins like my years of fucking buildup towards a character that was hyped from the first half of a series. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, I'm actually talking about Naruto as an example of a retcon done badly. Then you have retcons. Another example of retcons done badly is Kingdom Hearts, where you have every Kingdom Hearts game for some reason retconning a retcon because they can't keep their damn story straight. Then you have the Star Wars sequels, which retconned itself multiple times. I mean, people who say, "Oh, the sequels didn't retcon themselves," bullshit. Bullshit. I mean, you literally had fucking Rey's backstory retconned 3 goddamn times. Okay, maybe not 3, but actually, it is 3 damn times, because if you count the canon novel Shadows of the Sith, which further elaborates on Rey's story, or you have the novelization. Actually, I wasn't talking about Sasuke and Naruto. I was referring to the Zetsu retcon that happened at the very last stretch of the series, where you had a character that wasn't important in the story that recontextualizes the entire story, which basically makes the story worse. Despite my opinions about the Naruto series, that was just an example of a bad retcon. I can't comment on Rayman. Anyway, back to what I was saying about retcons. Like The Force Awakens, you cannot tell me that there wasn't hints towards Rey being a Skywalker. Only for The Last Jedi to retcon that, and only for the Rise of Skywalker to retcon it again. People could say, "Oh, but that's not a retcon." Well, technically it is, because there's a little thing called foreshadowing. Foreshadowing is something that you do to basically give hints of what is to come. Now, if you do foreshadowing well, when you reread a series, it could so that's what it was foreshadowing. Foreshadowing can actually enhance the experience of something when you go back to it later, or when you read, or when you go through a story and you when something is foreshadowed, when you go back to an earlier part, it actually enhances the earlier part. I think a good example of this happening is of a good retcon anyway is One Piece's Fisherman Island arc, where it basically retcons Arlong as a character and basically recontextualizes his motivations during the early part of One Piece. When I read that part in the manga, after exposing myself to the later parts of One Piece, it actually made Arlong a much better character than he was originally. Originally, he kind of was one note, but thanks to the retcons later in the story, it actually enhances a villain that was one note and made him more three-dimensional. But the problem with the problem with the people regarding who want the sequel trilogy to be retcon don't understand retcons at all, because they think retconning means something doesn't exist anymore when that isn't true. This is the same people that says, oh, the expanded universe was retconned out of existence, even though declaring something non-canon, no longer canon, isn't a retcon. It's just a part of a story that no longer exists. But anyway, I'm getting basically on a tangent here, and I've been more focused on retconning than anything else. The sequel trilogy, it's an unfortunate thing that they happened the way they did. They had a lot of potential. Anybody could see that. If you read any expanded universe novel, any one of those novels you could have read, you've read potentially, could have been a story of the sequels. The Thrawn trilogy could have been a potential sequel trilogy film. The Yuzhan Vong, any of those books could have been a potential sequel trilogy movie. The Legacy of the Force itself could have been the sequel trilogy. There is the potential of the sequel trilogy is undeniable, that they could have been great films. There was many great stories that took place after Return of the Jedi that actually explored different aspects of Star Wars. It explored different themes. It explored the Force in ways that has never been explored before or since. Yeah, some things it may have repeated, such as Jacen Solo fall into the dark side, but sometimes history does repeat itself. But it wasn't the exact same how Jacen fell to the dark side. You had Jacen, who was a Sith Lord that didn't see himself as evil. He saw himself, what he was doing was a necessary evil. The sequel trilogy could have gone any direction, but it didn't do anything. The sequel trilogy went the laziest route possible. It really did went the laziest route possible. The Last Jedi, despite what its fans want to say, didn't really do anything. It didn't really challenge anyone's notion of what Star Wars is in any meaningful way. Oh, but it did this. It basically critiqued certain aspects of Star Wars. Did it really? Did it really critique Star Wars? Really? Because as far as I'm concerned, I don't think The Last Jedi really did a good job of basically critiquing any aspect of Star Wars. The Jedi, there was no critique on the Jedi. And any critique we saw in the film was fucking weak ass shit. Oh, the Jedi's legacy is a failure and hypocrisy. Elaborate, please? Luke, please tell us more. It's like the most interesting parts of the movie are parts that they touch the surface, but don't dive deeper than that. And I think people that say, oh, The Last Jedi is such a great anti-fascist movie, it's like bullshit. The Last Jedi doesn't do anything that's remotely anti-fascist. It doesn't, if anything, it basically just promotes nihilism more than anything else, which is nothing but reactionary nonsense. It's like anything that The Last Jedi did that was interesting was surface level shit. Oh, it critiqued capitalism. Oh, that you mean the weak ass critique? Oh, war bad. Yeah, it doesn't really dive into how capitalism uses child slaves, how it enslaves the third world, how you have weapon manufacturers under capitalism, how you have people, the rich, exploiting the poor, how you have child slaves being used to make the products that we take for granted. It's like The Last Jedi was fucking weak as hell. In fact, I see more support for capitalism in The Last Jedi than a critique. Anyone that sees that weak ass critique on critiquing capitalism doesn't know what the fuck capitalism is, and they think that The Last Jedi was made by a Marxist is a fucking moron. If a Marxist made The Last Jedi, they would have gone hard on the Jedi. It would have gone hard on how the original trio didn't do enough to fight fascism. They actually enabled it. If a Marxist wrote The Last Jedi, Luke Skywalker would have been much harsher on the Jedi than he was. He wasn't. He wasn't. It was weak ass shit. In fact, at the end of the movie, he basically says, "You know, the Jedi aren't so bad. I won't be the last Jedi." It's like, wait, what? Then what the hell is the point of the movie then? Like, the movie makes no argument for or against the Jedi at all. It makes it, on the surface, it seems like The Last Jedi was basically making an argument that the Jedi must end, but it doesn't actually get us to the more interesting argument. The Last Jedi, the only reason it's the most talked about film in the sequels because it's the only one that's interesting. Because The Last Jedi has some things that are legitimate. But just because it has legitimate things that you could talk about, it doesn't mean it's anything more than a movie that's made by someone that doesn't really understand the subject they're talking about. Let's compare a much superior work that actually criticizes Star Wars, but do it in a way where it makes you think, really think. Because The Last Jedi doesn't make me think when I watch the movie. It doesn't make me think. It's like it doesn't do anything. Now compare and contrast to the masterpiece that is Knights of the Old Republic 2. Now, I know I keep praising this game to high heaven, but I don't fucking care. I cannot say enough good things about Knights of the Old Republic 2. That game makes you question everything that you do. And even after the credits roll, you're still thinking about, was this really the right thing to do? Like, it goes into detail on, how the Jedi are actually basically more of a problem for the galaxy, that the galaxy is the Republic is too dependent on the Jedi, or how the Jedi hold the Republic back, or how the Jedi are no different from the Sith. They're a bunch of power hungry people that are out of touch with the realities of the people. Like, there's so many instances in that game that make me question what I do. And Knights of the Old Republic 2 is an interesting game to discuss because one of the most interesting planets in the game is, and my favorite quest in the main story is the Civil War in Alderaan. Because if you really think about it, the Republic is an imperialist power. And the people on Alderaan, them wanting to secede from the Republic is not really evil within itself. Though you do have fascists like General Vaku that wants to basically become the new king. But there is no easy solution for this for that planet. And that's what I loved, because each outcome you chose feels wrong. Suppressing a rebellion that's legitimate is wrong, but so is supporting a fascist uprising. And that's what I love about that game, because the choices that you make, there's consequences for your actions. And you even see like stuff regarding, and like, if anything is anti-capitalist, it's Knights of the Old Republic 2, anti-fascism, imperialism. even hear like people who actually fought in the Mandalorian Wars and the Jedi Civil War from their perspective. Like everything about Knights of the Old Republic 2 is it should be a requirement. Anyone that wants to do a criticism of Star Wars and do it well, Knights of the Old Republic 2 needs to be a requirement because it isn't pretentious. It doesn't talk down to you like The Last Jedi does. It doesn't treat you like you're a dumbass. The Last Jedi, it's just a film that is made by someone that thinks he's smarter than he actually is. And to be truthful with everyone here, that rant I did was awful. I don't care what anybody says. If you liked my rant I did back in 2018, I hate it. I cannot stand that video now. It's cringe. It's, oh God. The things that I talked about in that video make me want to fucking puke. I don't understand how anyone actually liked that video. And for those of you who are watching it that enjoyed it, I don't get it. That video is one of the worst videos I've ever made on this channel. And I will continue to denounce that video. But why do I still have it up? Historical archiving. So I don't forget my past, or people cannot forget. Because people who watch that video and still think that I think the same way don't know fucking me at all. I've said more interesting things about The Last Jedi since, such as what I'm talking about now, how The Last Jedi is a bad film. There's no denying that. But those who could defend the film, they don't know why they like the movie. No, I'm not sounding like an elitist here because I'm trying not to, but what is it about The Last Jedi that you see that's so empowering? There is nothing. There is nothing empowering about The Last Jedi. You could still watch them, but I think they're cringe. Both of them are. I'm not proud of those videos, but I'm not taking them down either. If you were to watch them, you'd see why I'm not proud. But back to what I was saying about The Last Jedi, those who defend the film, I do question you. Like, you're free to like the film, so don't take this out of context. Like, oh, Darth Sinovia is acting like a butthurt fanboy. No, I'm sincerely asking, what is about The Last Jedi that is so appealing that you fucking want to die on the hill that it's a masterpiece, or those who don't like the movie are a bunch of neckbeards? Not everyone's a neckbeard. I'm as left-wing as you can get. And I don't like The Last Jedi. I think The Last Jedi is not a good film. Yes, it's more interesting to talk about than The Force Awakens and the rise of Shitwalker, but it doesn't change the fact that the movie is just so fucking pretentious. It's pretentious in a way that it talks down to its audience. It treats us like we're stupid. And why am I talking about The Last Jedi? I know I've discussed it many times. It's the 5th anniversary of the film. And I feel like since I was talking about Star Wars retcons earlier, it's appropriate that I talk about The Last Jedi. Because The Last Jedi as a movie isn't very good. It isn't very good. I don't hold it against people that enjoy it. I don't. But I don't understand how anyone can come around and say that The Last Jedi is basically a good form of anti-fascism when I don't see it. Because Luke Skywalker's criticism on the Jedi is just so fucking weak. Like, anyone who thinks that Luke Skywalker was more interesting than because, oh, he was grumpy, oh, he criticizes the Jedi, when anybody can like type a clip of Kreia in Knights of the Old Republic 2, her thoughts on the Force and the Jedi and the Sith, and you'll get a far more engaging conversation. Wait, yeah, I'm comparing a video game to a movie. I don't care, because both characters criticize the Jedi and did it in a way that if you were to listen to Kreia the way she does it, it makes you think. It's like, you know what? She has a point. This is a valid argument. I should consider what she's saying. you know what? The Jedi are kind of shit. The Jedi, are like, yeah, yeah, Major Lee is a fucking idiot. He doesn't understand fucking anything. He's a fucking stupid fucking liberal. That's no different from your average conservative when it comes to fucking his politics. I mean, the guy literally said some racist things and sexist things against some of the people he was talking about in his pathetic defense of The Last Jedi. Because I have yet to see one criticism of The Last Jedi that's actually good and valid. Because if anyone's going to fucking listen to Kreia like talk about the Jedi and the Sith and tell me that Luke had more to say and he was more interesting, get the fuck out. I'm sorry. I question your engagement with media if you actually think Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi had more interesting things to say than Kreia. Kreia is what Luke should have been in The Last Jedi. She didn't hold back. She was ruthless with her deconstruction of the Jedi and Sith philosophies. She didn't. If you played as a pure Jedi, she fucking gave you shit. If you played as a pure Sith, she gave you shit. Rhea was the kind of character that made you, the player, think. Luke Skywalker doesn't make you think in The Last Jedi. It's just like, oh, he kind of has a point, but that's all. Like all these people that do videos, oh, the case against the Jedi, all that stuff is far more interesting than anything that is said in The Last Jedi, because The Last Jedi doesn't really give us anything. The only thing we could talk about is just how, like, yeah, Luke was right, but that's all. But the conversation outside The Last Jedi is more interesting than The Last Jedi itself, because Luke Skywalker doesn't challenge the viewer, because he just walks back on his positions by the end of the movie. I'm not saying that someone can't be wrong, but Luke Skywalker wasn't wrong that the Jedi were fucking shit. He wasn't wrong. He wasn't wrong. He really wasn't wrong. And people were like acting like Luke Skywalker was more insightful than anything he said in Legends. That is such bullshit. Anyone that's read Legends like I have, balls deep, there's some quotes in Legends that actually make you really think when Luke speaks to his son Ben about the Force. Luke had far more insightful stuff to say in Legends than he does in The Last Jedi. And I know I'm comparing apples and oranges here because the movies and books are different mediums, but it doesn't change the fact that there was nothing interesting that Luke had to say at all in The Last Jedi. Now, there is a scene that was deleted from the film that is in the novelization that had Luke had some interesting stuff to say, but the most interesting things Luke had to say to Rey were not included in the movie. I wonder. One of the most interesting scenes with Luke in the movie is not included. You might have been able to give Luke an interesting story in The Last Jedi, which let's be honest, Luke and Rey and Kylo's portion was the most interesting part of the movie. If you didn't have a shitty fucking Canto Bight storyline that doesn't, you could delete it from the film and not much would really change. It's not really essential. It's fucking ridiculous. Now, I haven't seen The Last Jedi in years myself, but I'm just reflecting on how my views have evolved, my political views over the past 5 years, and how that's affected how I look at The Last Jedi. I actually wasn't talking about the deleted scenes, Submoney. I was talking about scenes that were in the novelization, actually, regarding Luke and Rey. Like, the movie was trying to make it seem like the First Order and the Resistance were basically the same when it came in the war. It's like, wait, what kind of liberal nonsense is this? A resistance against fascism is the same as fascism? That would be hilarious if Donald Trump was directing a Star Wars film. At least it'd be so bad that we could laugh at it. But the point that I'm making here is a lot of the criticism towards The Last Jedi is fucking weak as hell. And so is the defense for it. I have yet to find a critique on The Last Jedi that isn't talking about reactionary bullshit, or a defense of The Last Jedi that isn't resorting to insulting the people that do not like this movie. Oh, The Last Jedi, you're insulting Rian Johnson's masterpiece. Yeah, this movie is so pretentious. I mean, my God. Like I said earlier, how can you say that this movie is anti-fascist when it tries to equate anti-fascism and fascism as equally bad? What, because the resistance has to make deals with weapon dealers in order to get its equipment, so they're both equally bad? That's just dumb. Yes, their weapon manufacturers in the real world do finance both sides in conflicts in the real world. That does happen, but it's the insidious messaging in that movie. It's why I don't understand how anyone can say that's anti-fascism. I can't. If I were to do that, this stream would be 3 hours, and I'm not doing that. I'm just talking about The Last Jedi. The only reason I'm talking about it because it's 5th anniversary, and I didn't do it when it was its 5th anniversary. And no, this is not all I'm going to talk about is Star Wars, even though I'm going to be doing that for a while. The Last Jedi, I said this in a post, brought the worst out of the Star Wars fandom out. But that the worst part of the fandom, the sexism, the racism, had always been there. It just didn't become open until The Last Jedi came out, because The Last Jedi didn't give these stupid neckbeards. I don't care. I'm gonna fucking say it. These stupid neckbeards what they wanted. Oh my God, The Last Jedi didn't like, my shitty Snoke theory never came true. Oh my God, Rey wasn't a fucking Kenobi, which is stupid. I don't know why any fucking person thought she'd be a Kenobi. That made no sense. Or any other dumbass shit that these stupid theories had. Oh, but these people put more thoughts into their theories than Lucasfilm. Yeah, you know what? The Last Jedi is an example of what happens when you have a fucking fandom that's so invested in fucking theories that they lose their goddamn minds when none of them come true. Oh, yeah. I will be talking about fan pandering in a bit, Max Panther, because that is something that these fans wanted. They wanted The Last Jedi to be like basically everything that they wanted. They wanted Luke Skywalker to basically to take down the First Order single-handedly without even trying. They wanted a power fantasy. They wanted Luke Skywalker to basically be an overpowered demigod. They wanted Luke Skywalker to basically be the exact same character that they remember from Return of the Jedi. They didn't want a Luke Skywalker that was human, that, made some mistakes. No, God forbid we age up Luke Skywalker 30 years and actually show the consequences of what happens after many decades. Like, people assume that people do not change. Bullshit. People can change a lot in a year. People, like, I'm a different person today than I was 5 years ago. Anyone that basically doesn't like what I'm about to say, it's true. You really think Luke Skywalker is going to stay the same person? Come on, that's not how fucking life works. Nor that's how stories work. Even in the EU, you could, if you've read the EU, which most people haven't, you could see Luke Skywalker at the start of the Thrawn trilogy is clearly not the same man from Return of the Jedi. I mean, 5 years had passed. He's more mature. Luke's is a veteran at this point. And then you go from that Luke Skywalker to Crucible, a Luke that's much more experienced than even his canon counterpart before his death, who made decisions that his younger self would have never even done. All of us change. If you don't change, then you're not. Then what the fuck? Then you are a child. Human beings are not stagnant. Luke Skywalker is no exception to that. And that's the biggest thing. These fans never gave a fuck about Luke Skywalker. But because they didn't, Lucasfilm didn't deliver them on their power fantasy that they desired. They just hated fucking The Last Jedi because of how dare they do something different. It's, oh my God, The Last Jedi, God, even though The Last Jedi did it really badly, doing something different. I mean, it didn't even go all the way. And not to mention, fucking Snoke. Let's be honest, the most overhyped character in all of fiction. Let's just be honest here. Snoke is the most overhyped character in all of fiction. No character got that amount of hype that Snoke did. And when you look back on it, there was nothing impressive about Snoke. He was just, oh yeah, he's a giant fucking hologram. And then you see him in The Last Jedi. It's like, what the fuck is this? And then he fucking, he's so powerful that he makes Palpatine look weak. Yet he gets fucking killed easily by Kylo Ren. Yeah, what an impressive fucking character, guys. What a character. Do I care that he was killed? Fuck no. Why would I? I never gave a shit about Snoke. I'm gonna be real. I never gave a shit about Snoke. Yeah, he could have been a better character, but let's be honest. The way things are going, he was just going to be a Palpatine 2.0. That's who Snoke was going to be. And who cares about his backstory? Who really gives a shit about the backstory? I don't think all canon stuff is bad, Max Panther, but I do agree that it's nowhere near as good as the old EU was. I simply just skip most of it. The only time I ever read canon is if it's a story in the prequel era or High Republic. Otherwise, I just don't bother with it. Because that's the only part of it I'll read. I don't think they will. I already said earlier that the sequel trilogy is an era that you're likely never going to see explored very much. Star Wars in general, it has an entitlement problem. And I think this is a good segment for Star Wars and how it cannot seem to be able to stand on its own without involving pre-established characters. Darth Vader is one of those characters. It's like for God's sake. Okay, as much as I enjoyed Kenobi, I'm just going to be real. Darth Vader did not need to be in that show. He didn't need to be there. Darth Vader you didn't need to include him in the show. Don't get me wrong, that scene where Anakin and Obi-Wan fought each other for the first time in years was terrifying. We actually saw Darth Vader do some cool, the brutal Darth Vader that we see in the comics and the novels. And we got a chance. Obi-Wan got closure when he realized Anakin was dead, like in that final duel. Other than that, you could have done that story without Darth Vader in there. And that's the problem. Speaking of which, Rogue One as well. You didn't need Darth Vader in the movie because when Darth Vader appeared in the movie, no one gave a shit about the pre-existing characters. And it just feels like ever since like Rogue One came out, it just feels like they've been using the pre-existing characters as a crutch because they're too afraid of letting the franchise stand on its own. Like, I'm in the minority when I say this. I thought Mandalorian season 1 was better than season 2. And I will die on that hill that I thought season 1 was better. It didn't rely on pre-established characters. It told its own story. The character of Mando actually was cool because we didn't know much about him at this point. And he didn't feel like he was basically a side character in his own show. Mandalorian in its first season, I felt like was the redemption for Star Wars. It could have been the redemption, but instead, it seemed like everything it just went downhill quickly. Like season 2, like the first 2 episodes, which the first episode was a good episode and and probably one of the best episodes of the season. Why? Because that character that was introduced in the Aftermath novels, he was pretty cool. I enjoyed that episode. We actually get to explore the Tuxan Raiders more. We actually saw like the Mando actually doing shit. Then it went downhill after that. You had a cringy episode with freaking Grogu who was eating that whatever you call that alien's eggs, which is cringe. It was a cheap joke. Then you had freaking an appearance from a character from like Rebels and Clone Wars, Bo-Katan. It's like, seriously. Okay, I don't mind cameos for characters from other Star Wars media, but I started noticing early on in season 2 that this was not Mando's show anymore. These didn't feel like his own show. Then he had a filler episode. Then he had the Ahsoka episode, which in itself was a good episode. Don't get me wrong, but you could have removed Mando, and not much would have changed. It just felt like a backdoor pilot to Dave Filoni's actual passion show, Ahsoka. And then by the end of the series, the season, like you had the appearance of Luke Skywalker, which I did praise. Like, not praise, but basically said, who gave a shit about anybody but Luke? Because that's the honest truth. And I think that's the problem. They know this. They know fans don't really give a shit about the characters they've created, so they have to rely on pre-established characters. Oh yeah, Boba Fett appears in Mandalorian. I mean, he was pretty cool. But again, when he as soon as he appeared, it's like I didn't even give a shit about Mando because Boba Fett was just so much cooler by comparison. When he appeared, he did some badass shit. But again, the best episode of the season, in my opinion, was episode that didn't really focus on Mando that much. Like, I forgot the name of that former Imperial officer. That guy was pretty cool. So I thought he was one of the coolest characters. It's like the show started off so good, and then it just like, it's like, then Grogu left at the end of season 2. It's like, you know what? Season 3 looks like it could be good. We don't have Grogu anymore. We actually could tell a serious story now. We don't have to freaking like, okay, that I can't wait to see where this goes. Actually, I was referring to that other guy that shot that Imperial officer. There's a famous meme about it. I mean, he was a cool character. I enjoyed his performance. Anyway, then the Book of Boba Fett, which I've heard the show is crap. I haven't seen it yet, nor do I have an interest to. But you kind of have to because of basically it becomes Mando 2.0. Like Boba Fett isn't even the main character of his own show. It's like Star Wars is basically going through an identity crisis. That's essentially what it is. That's essentially what Star Wars is. It's gone through it's going through an identity crisis right now because it cannot stand on its own. Pre-established characters always basically have to be in a show. Like they're basically catering to fucking people. It's like, oh, this show doesn't have any characters that I care about. I'm not going to watch it. Like freaking Andor, I've heard good things about it, but Andor is the lowest rated show in all of Star Wars because it doesn't rely on pre-established characters. It does something original. It does something on its own. It actually tells a story that freaking Star Wars doesn't actually explore very much, and I actually am interested in watching it, despite me not giving a shit about the character of Andor. So yeah, I just think that Star Wars right now is basically because they're so afraid of fucking not doing what with what entitled fans want. We can't get anything cool anymore in Star Wars. I miss the days where Star Wars actually prioritized telling stories over fucking basically listening to every fan's whim. It's like, God forbid, imagine if we killed with the entitled fans mindset today, like we would never get shit like Vector Prime today because fans would fucking lose their shit collectively. Well, they did, but not to the extent they did after Luke's death. Because God forbid they killed Chewbacca. You'd have fans constantly sending death threats like when fan favorite characters were killed off. It's like the era of creativity in Star Wars is gone because they're too afraid to do anything new and original. It's the minions outside of the shows and that's actually doing more than the shows themselves. In fact, this is going to shock people. I am more interested in the High Republic than in anything in the current canon. Why? Because even though the novels and the comics have not been that great, at least they're doing something different in the new canon. At least it tries to. It doesn't depend heavily on pre-established characters. It's in an era where none of the characters that we know are alive yet, except Yoda. Yoda is barely used though, which is a good thing. And the novel that I finished today of the High Republic actually was pretty good. I won't review it, but it actually explored like there was a conflict going on a war between two worlds. The story was basically a political thriller, which is something Star Wars doesn't do very often anymore. And it was exciting, actually, exploring concepts in Star Wars that haven't been explored that often. Currently, it was interesting. The stakes were high, and the most interesting characters, ironically, weren't the Jedi. Yeah, the High Republic does have its highs and lows, but I will take that over like what's currently going on with the Disney Plus shows. It's just majority of them just aren't good. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize to my viewers. It's why I don't watch them. I watched Kenobi because of my boy Edgar McGregor. I was excited to see that character come back. Yes, that happened. Stan, that actually happened. I'm not even exaggerating. And yeah, that's the sad state of affairs with the Star Wars franchise. All the cool stuff that we could get out of Star Wars won't happen because the fans are entitled. And I'm just going to say this. I don't think the fans should be listened to because they don't know what the fuck they want. Most of the shit in the EU that people fucking, that these people claim to love would never have happened if they were in charge of it. It would never have happened. We would have never gotten the new Jedi Order series. Oh my God, God forbid, because we kill off some characters. Oh my God. We actually explored the Force in new and interesting ways, not do some stupid fucking shit that's unimaginative and uncreative. Superfans should not be in charge of Star Wars. And I'm sorry, I'm just going to say this. Superfans should not be in charge because they would freaking run Star Wars to the ground with unimaginative garbage. Because freaking they cannot see Star Wars past what they see. And you know what? I'll be real with you. The best Star Wars content wasn't written by superfans. I could tell you that much. The best Star Trek stories was not written by a Star Trek fan. Non-fans could create great stuff if given the chance. And you know what? Star Wars will never get that chance because Disney fucking has a tendency of being control freaks, and you can't get actually talented people to actually do Star Wars material. Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. The Brotherhood novel, that novel was so good. I was shocked how good that novel was. And that's the thing. There is still great Star Wars stuff being created. But you know what? Majority of the great stuff isn't talked about. And that's what fucking frustrates me. The best stuff that's coming out right now gets overshadowed by mediocrity. People are looking to the mediocre shit and calling it gold when you actually have some good stuff being made right now. Oh yeah, Knights of the Old Republic 2. Nobody could tell me that wasn't made by a freaking Star Wars fan. It wasn't. It's brilliant. It's one of my favorite Star Wars stories of all time. Non-fans could have a different point of view and could actually think of Star Wars from a different perspective. In fact, I think that is what's needed. Fresh blood. And if Rian Johnson truly hated Star Wars like these fans said they did, he would have done far more than what freaking we see in The Last Jedi. It was so weak. The way it criticized Star Wars, I don't even consider it criticism of Star Wars. It's just a stupid movie that's pretentious, made by a pretentious director. I really wish that Lucasfilm would just ignore the Star Wars fandom and actually focus on telling stories again. Not catering to a bunch of freaking reactionary neckbeards on the internet that fucking do not freaking have any idea how to write anything or how to create something of their own. That they have to freaking wait for someone else to entertain them. They look at creators like they're slaves or something. Like, fuck these people. Star Wars fans should not be listened to. They shouldn't be catered to. People should fucking write their stories how they want to. And if fans don't like it, shut the fuck up, okay? I have a gigantic bookshelf of Star Wars books. A lot of Star Wars books. A lot. Legends and canon. Though my Legends collection is like a billion times bigger. I have a bunch of Star Trek novels as well. I can tell you that much. I am more interested in people writing a story and telling it well. You want to know what an example of why having a fan of Star Wars, why it is a bad thing? Look at fucking The Force Awakens and Rise of Skywalker is one of the worst Star Wars fucking freaking movies of all time. Honestly, Timothy Zahn is just one fucking guy. There's no fucking way Timothy Zahn can write a Star Wars novel and automatically redeem the new canon. I've read the first two books of the Thrawn Ascendancy trilogy. Oh my god, those books are so good. Another stuff that isn't freaking talked about much. Those Ascendancy books are great. It explores the Chiss in a new and interesting way. It explores their culture. It explores how the hierarchy of their society works, and actually makes them really compelling. The characters, Thrawn, like, isn't the only compelling character in the Chiss ascendancy. You even explore a region of space that isn't explored often in Star Wars. That is what I love about those books. In fact, those books made me realize why I fell in love with the EU to begin with. Exploring Star Wars in new and interesting ways. We're never going to get that with Lucasfilm, because not today, because the way things are run now is so corporate. Like, when you have a corporate product, you're never going to see people actually take creative risk with Star Wars, because it's too risky to their profits. Like, the only reason they could get away with doing some things and some of the other mediums, like, you know, books and comics, because those do not sell nearly as well as everything else in the Star Wars license. So there's more experimentation that is possible. Not saying that the novels haven't taken a dive either. I've already mentioned time and time again how I feel like the Star Wars franchise for years now has been creatively stagnant because of the restrictive things that can be done in the books now. But the High Republic is an interesting era to read because it's unknown. Inevitably, it's likely going to be basically everything's going to be ignored or contradicted or retconned. It doesn't matter at this point. At least as of right now, the stories in this era, we could at least get something new and interesting now, before they inevitably basically do what they did before The Force Awakens. Because I'm going to be real, the sequel era, not talk about the sequel era as of the stories that take place, but I'm talking about the sequel era for Star Wars, like when Disney first bought it, like from 20 like 14 to 2019 was the worst time to be a Star Wars fan. It truly was. So much of the novels are so fucking bad before 2019 that I don't remember most of the material that was released. So much forgettable garbage. Other than Timothy Zahn, who wrote 2 novels in this era, actually 3, it was just not a good time to be a Star Wars fan. The novels were trash. The comics were trash as well. The only thing that was halfway decent were Darth Vader comics. It's like, I don't even care for those comics, to be real with you. The era is just forgettable in general. Yet everything in that era until The Last Jedi came out was treated as the second coming of Christ. Like, there wasn't anything good really that came out in that era. Not much. The only good stuff that came out in that era is a few novels, and that's it. But even then, Catalyst was not a bad novel, but it was boring. So it wasn't really that great. The first 2 novels I truly enjoyed in canon were Queen's Shadow and Master and Apprentice. Why? Because it actually explored a part of the Star Wars era, part of the Star Wars universe that hasn't been explored in a while. Because prior to Queen's Shadow, there was no prequel stuff for forever. There was no prequel stuff since Maul Lockdown. That was the last novel that was released that had anything related to the prequels. Yeah, you technically did have Dark Disciple, but let's be real, that was basically made out of unfinished notes of unfinished materials of the Clone Wars. So I don't really count that. But a Star Wars novel that wasn't based on any like episodes or novelizations they were the first new stuff, and that was basically the sign that things were slowly getting better. Yeah, Star Wars novels didn't automatically get better by that point, but I'm just saying we did start to see a shift, that the novels were nowhere near as bad after 2019, that the novels did gradually get better. In my opinion, I think the novels did get better after 2019. The comics, I don't care what anyone says. I think the Marvel comics are creatively bankrupt, because how many goddamn Darth Vader comics do we have in Marvel comics now? It's so ridiculous. I really do not care, and I'm just going to be honest about the Marvel comics outside of the High Republic. It's just the reason why the High Republic is good right now, because simply Disney isn't really paying attention to it from the looks of it. So I don't think there is much micromanaging in this era like there was in previous eras. So it's allowed to grow more organically, even though I do feel like phase one, as I said, my criticism of the High Republic would have been so much better if you had that storyline last for at least 2 years, rather than have what you could have had 2 years or 3 years worth of stories happen in the span of a year. But I'm not going to get into a thing I've already talked about where Starlight Beacon was destroyed when we barely spent time on it in universe. Like, I feel like one thing I would have done differently with the High Republic, I would have had one novel take place mainly in Starlight Beacon before it was destroyed, so we at least get to learn about the space station in detail, rather than just have it be fucking, oh, we're in this place for a bit, oh, it's destroyed. It's like, who gives a shit about Starlight Beacon? In this first novel, in the second phase, Convergence, just to give my thoughts about it, I thought it was really good. It's probably the best of the High Republics so far. You could read it without reading the other parts of it. It takes place 200 years into the past, but the story just felt so interesting because it was a different kind of story. And usually in the High Republic, it's the Jedi that are the most interesting characters. Well, this novel, it wasn't. I won't spoil anything for this book, but I really did enjoy it. And, well, I'm actually looking forward to reading more. Anyway, I don't know what else to talk about for Star Wars. I've said a lot, and it's been an hour, and I think I'm going to shift this to something else, because I think I've been talking about Star Wars for longer than I intended to. So, yeah. I like to basically, I just like to reflect on this year. I mean, holy shit, it's been another year. Another year. God. 2021 feels like it happened yesterday. That's what it seemed like. So much has happened in the past, year. So much has happened. Like, I really cannot fucking discuss enough just how much shit has happened in the past year. Like, I went from mildly disliking superheroes to absolutely detesting them. I don't think I've gotten. You know what? Speaking of superheroes, if it's okay with my audience, I like to go on a rant on Black Panther 2. Because Black Panther 2 fucking really fucking pissed me off. Like, I know I saw it about a month ago, but I still can't help but be pissed off at Black Panther 2. That movie was, oh God. Oh God. Oh God. Black Panther 2 really did piss me off. The movie, like, The only thing I will say that's positive about the movie, the acting and the performance for the actors was the best part of the movie. But what the movie does, it's very insidious, and there's some sinister things about that film, such as the plot. The whole fucking freaking plot of the movie is basically an African nation waging war against an oppressed nation that was almost that survived a genocide by the Spaniards. Wait, what? So those who those who've fled genocide, and the king is has legitimate concerns about America, the number one fascist country in universe, invading and destroying their country and stealing its resources. Wakanda, a country that could potentially get invaded by the United States, is actively aiding the imperialist power to rape and pillage another fucking oppressed country. Yes. And before anyone says, I don't give a fuck about a character's backstory in the comics. I'm going by the films because majority of the people that get exposed to this stuff is from the movies. Like the very idea that this guy is the villain of the film because, oh my God, he wants to wage war against the surface world. Well, let's see. How many of the people in the surface world are allied with the United States? The United States is an imperialist power. So is Europe. So is Russia and China. I think his concerns are legitimate. Yeah, I think his concerns are legitimate. I mean, come on. And it's to be real, I have a very difficult time seeing the Wakandans as innocent victims when really they literally fucking are collaborating with fascists. Yes, it was pro-colonialism. It fucking totally was. Like the fuck Wakanda was actively collaborating with fascists. Black Panther does it again. Like, oh, we don't support fascism. Literally has the fucking supposed heroes of the film aiding fascists. Oh, but wait, the Wakandans are defending themselves from the fascists and NATO. Yeah, it doesn't change the fact they still ally with them. Like, if they truly were for the if they truly cared about the oppressed of the world, they wouldn't be allying with a Nazi fucking organization. Yeah, fuck the Queen of England. I agree. Fuck the Queen of England. Fuck the Queen of England. Fuck Queen Elizabeth. It's such a shame I never got a chance to do a stream about that bitch. But anyway, I have nothing against people who enjoy the Black Panther comics. So this is not an attack on you guys. I'm talking about the movie itself because the movie itself made me feel really uncomfortable. It really did. Like it was reinforcing something that I hated about the first film. Like, yeah, Killmonger had a point about isn't Wakanda helping um why isn't it helping the African diaspora around the world? Why is it hoarding its resources for itself? Why doesn't it liberate Africa from France and from why isn't it doing any of that? That's why I cannot fucking in good conscience just look at Wakanda and not think of this is a fucking white person writing this shit. Because if Wakanda actually existed, there's no fucking way in fucking hell freaking if we had a real life Wakanda, the people of Africa wouldn't fucking fight against the European powers and fucking kick the fucking Europeans out and have all of Africa united under one fucking belt. Speaking of Wakanda, why the fuck isn't Wakanda freaking uniting all of Africa? Why is it just one tiny country? It's so fucking ridiculous. It's like, what the fuck? What the fuck? It's This is why I'm saying that being a communist is sometimes a curse, because when you look at things from a objectively, it's like, wait, these are supposed to be the good guys, right? Then why are they helping? Why are they helping fascists if they are the good guys? I don't know if that. I don't think he was right. I don't support Malthus or his bullshit ideology. Fucking Marvel is fucking. I'm sorry, I fucking hate the Marvel films. I think this is not a secret that anybody fucking thinks. Oh my god, Darcenovia, I didn't know you hated these movies. I hate what they stand for. It's not just like the bullshit fucking fascist ideology these movies push. It's the stupid fucking it's so insulting to my fucking intelligence. These films are. It's like you have scenes that are supposed to be funny, not supposed to be funny, supposed to be serious, yet you fucking ruin it with a fucking joke. It's like, seriously, can we not have a joke in this scene? Fucking, I don't think Killmonger was the villain. If I have to be real, he was fucking right. Uh, he was completely right about fucking about the freaking about what Wakanda's negligence on the African diaspora. He was right on the imperialism and the racism of of the Europeans. He wasn't wrong. Yes, I agree. Yeah, it's just, oh my god, it just, okay. Here's the thing: the whole point of both of these films, Black Panther and Wakanda Forever, is to basically get into the audience's head about not supporting the struggles of marginalized people, colonized people. Because make it no mistake, the people of Africa are colonized by foreign nations, and we're supposed to like think this is a good thing, that those who are fighting back against colonization are as bad as those who are doing it. Like freaking, I refuse to believe that Killmonger was wrong, because he wasn't. And another thing about like Black Panther, how was Killmonger's father wrong? How was he wrong when he goes out? He basically leaves his comforts in Wakanda and sees what the people of Africa, how they suffer, the diaspora suffers outside of it. It's like the way he freaking his speech, like when he was speaking to his brother about how oppressed their people were. It's like, how is he bad? He risked his everything to help the African diaspora outside of Wakanda, and and him being radical is labeled as a bad thing. That's when you know fucking you have a libtard who make this shit. Because according to liberals, if you're radical in any way, it's bad. There's nothing fucking good about being a radical. It's like, what? So being supporting fucking the liberation of a people is a bad thing. Alan Moore. Alan Moore said superheroes are basically fascists, but he's not the first one to say it, though. And the first superhero movie was Birth of a Nation. He basically said that superheroes are essentially a white supremacist power fantasy, which I don't think Alan Moore is wrong about that, because they essentially are. And that's the thing I like doing, because unlike most people, I like when I talk about entertainment, I prefer to talk about it from multiple lenses. Being political is almost impossible when you're talking about fucking entertainment, because everything is political. Like, of course, Michael Parenti wasn't the first one to say all this stuff that I'm discussing here. Of entertainment has various ways of basically reinforcing certain narratives, such as being anti-worker, anti-union, anti-women, be supporting racism, freaking anti working class sentiment. Honestly, I think I have no problem with redemption arcs, but I think redemption arcs. The problem with redemption arcs is I think they're overdone. Because don't get me wrong, I think all of us like a good redemption arc, but I think redemption arcs, for them to actually work, you actually have to see the person who does bad things do bad things and have remorse for doing those bad things. And for a good redemption arc, doesn't have people suddenly not like trust people, suddenly trust these people or lick their boots. No, they have to actually earn their redemption. I did not review Andor, actually. I was just talking about Star Wars for an hour. Now, what was I saying? Sorry, I've been fucking. I've lost my train of thought here. I've been talking for almost nonstop for almost an hour and a half. Okay, sorry. Yeah, segregation too. Yeah, I remember. I recall that. Well, I talk about it for about an hour. It's multiple topics of Star Wars. So yeah. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, politics are into everything that we watch, and I think basically ignoring that fact is basically you're proving that you have a political bias, which we all have a political bias. Think so. I'm not going to deny that we don't. And entertainment also serves to basically show a falsified version of history. Now, I'm referring to the visual medium because books do this as well. Though I'm saying that you have more stuff in movies that do this because books there's oh oh shit, something dropped. I'll be back in a bit. Sorry guys. Sorry, my fire alarm dropped from my ceiling, so I had to inform the person I'm living with that it happened. Sorry about that. And I lost my train of thought. I don't think I want to expose anything about Nintendo on my channel. I prefer not to have Nintendo copyright anything that I do. I'd prefer not to do that. Oh yeah, nothing shocks me. Nothing really shocks me. Transphobia. These fascists just cannot help but fucking make the lives of freaking people a living hell. That's what makes me sick. I mean, this whole year has been really scary regarding the rise of fascism, and transphobia is fascism. It truly is. You cannot say that it isn't. And I know it's like, oh, but Darth Sinovia, people are just asking questions. No, 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 no. When you frame it that way, you're no different from a Nazi who defends and who basically defends anti-Semitism. You're no different from basic people who rightfully point out that, you know what, that's basically anti-Semitism. You're basically advocating genocide against Jewish people. No, no, no. We have to let the Nazis have their own opinions. It's like, no, 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 no. We don't fucking play that shit here. If you're basically saying something like the trans question, I'm sorry, you're a fucking fascist. There is no difference between bringing up the trans question to the Jewish question. Anyone that says otherwise is a fucking fascist. I'm sorry. You are no different from a Nazi if you basically believe in such nonsense. Now, I'm a cis person, so I'm an ally. I don't have that experience of being trans or being bi or being part of the LGBTQ community of any form. All I can do is support the LGBTQ community and show my solidarity with them. That's all I can do. I'm not Jewish either, but I can show my solidarity to the Jewish diaspora that's suffering anti-Semitic violence. I'm not Muslim, but I can show my solidarity to my Muslim brothers who are suffering Islamophobic attacks. All forms of bigotry are connected in one way. There is no separation between these. If you try to separate them, then you're doing the enemy a favor. You're basically helping them, dividing us. It really isn't off topic. That's that. Hold on, I got to read that again. What do you think of people saying? Those who say no one cares about anti-Semitism are anti-Semites themselves. Those who say LGBT people should be banned forever, they're fascists. Anyone that's, I don't care if people accuse me of, you think everyone's a fascist, Darth Sinovia. No, I think people that basically think that certain types of people shouldn't be allowed to exist are a fascist. I'm sorry, there is no fucking way around it. If you think people who are part of the LGBTQ community, if you think that they shouldn't be allowed to simply live their lives like everyone else, you're a fascist. If you think certain kinds of people should be put into camps based on their identity, you're a fascist. If you think anti-Semitism is not a big deal, you are a fascist. Or an active supporter of fascism, which is the same thing in my eyes. There is no room for middle ground at this point. I don't want to hear your bullshit. Oh, but we need to we need to pay attention to the nuances of these arguments. No, there is nothing to discuss. I will not discuss that certain people should be allowed to exist or not based on their identity as a LGBTQ plus person. I am not part of these communities at all, but I will not fucking make an argument whether these people should exist or not. They deserve, because it's bullshit. I do not fucking talk to fascists about this crap because I'm not going to reason with a fascist. The only thing that I believe we should be doing to fascists is busting their skulls in. I'm not interested in reasoning with these people. I'm not interested in debating these people because they're scum. These active fascists are just making things more dangerous for everyone else. They're not going to stop with LGBTQ plus people. They'll stop at anyone that's undesirable, the disabled as well. They'll stop at fucking people who they'll start labeling certain people as, oh, this person isn't white because of this and 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 this reason. Of course he did. Of course he did. Of course he did. Freaking, he's a fucking piece of shit. And you know what? I don't give a fuck. I really don't. My fucking enemies could fucking say whatever they want about me. These fucking fascist bootlicking scum that hate watch my videos. I don't fucking care. And no, I'm not talking about be liberal. I'm talking about other people. I don't fucking care. There's scum. Every single person that actually believes that certain kinds of people do not have a right to exist because of whatever bullshit they listen to from the likes of Matt Walsh, Ben Shapiro. I don't fucking care. I don't care to listen to people that support literal pedophiles such as Matt Walsh, who believes that freaking 16-year-old girls should be fucking impregnated, basically be raped. I don't give a fuck what any of those people say. I don't care about people that support fucking literal fucking pedophiles and rapists like Trump. I don't give a shit. Now, why am I bringing this up? Because fascism, and I don't care if I have to repeat this or fucking bang your head against the wall if I can't really do that because I'm not. But if I don't give a fuck. I don't welcome fascists. I have no interest talking to you. I have no interest in debating you. I don't give a fuck because all the fascists that are you're my enemies. You're my enemies. Anyone that thinks that certain kinds of people don't have a right to exist is my enemy. Anyone that thinks that the disabled like fucking deserve to be fucking basically put to death are my enemy. Anyone that supports anything that supports freaking the deaths of fucking people that didn't choose to be part of these communities or who just simply want to exist and be left alone, you're my enemy. I don't fucking care. I don't care about your childish nonsense. Oh, you just don't like me because I disagree with you. No, I fucking see you as an enemy. I see you as an enemy that I would gladly. I won't say it on stream because that will get me banned for basically inciting violence. Because YouTube doesn't fucking favor fucking the left like you fascist crazy say they do. They favor you people. Your boy Matt Walsh constantly advocates for violence. I don't give a flying fuck. Really, if you fucking despise me. Good. I would rather be hated by fascists than be supported by them. I really don't care. Why? Because to be hated by the enemy is the best honor you could give me. You're actually doing me a service by hating me. Hope you fucking waste your time watching this video. And I know fucking you're watching it. Don't fucking deny it. You fascist scum. Freaking every single one of these people that basically think that the LGBTQ plus community deserves to fucking have their lives made worse. You're scum. All of you are. You're all scum. And if it makes me triggered that my fucking people that I care about, that are my friends, are suffering because of fascist violence from people you support, you know what? You're scum. If you're going to criticize me for supporting freaking the people that have supported me while you left me to dry. I really don't care. And I know that this is not a moralistic thing to say. What I'm about to say, it sounds moralistic, but I don't care. Anyone that's a fascist is a fucking piece of shit. I don't care who you are. You're a piece of shit, and you do not deserve fucking. You don't deserve any sympathy. You really don't deserve anything but a bullet in your head, because that is how fucking. That's how much that I despise you. I fucking despise fascists. Fascists are some of the evilest scumbags I've ever fucking encountered. They're some of the biggest cowards that go after the weakest people imaginable and make them out to be freaking a threat to them. These fascists, oh yeah, these people are weak, but they're also strong. The same fucking bullshit that fascists have been doing since the days of Mussolini. Yeah, well, fucking anyone that actually says I had a girlfriend in 2015 is a fucking moron. And even if I did, I'm just gonna be real with everyone. Who gives a shit? If anyone's gonna like basically say, "Oh, I had a girlfriend 2015," who fucking cares? Whether I do or do not have like a significant other in my life is no one's fucking business. And even if I did, it's not. I would never tell anyone because of you fucking crazies fucking doing what you do. And I will say this: you're fucking pussies. Every single fascist is a fucking pussy. Every single fascist fucking acts tough, but what happens when fucking things go when shit hits the fan? Oh, they'll cry like a little fucking baby, or they'll blow their brains out like your leader that I shall not name because fuck him. All of you are the same. You fascists are fucking pussies. You act so tough on fucking online, but when most of you fucking cowards actually go in the real world and try to do the shit, you fucking run away like the pussies that you are. And instead of actually seeking out people that actually can fight back, you look for the weakest fucking people imaginable. Oh, you go to a neighborhood where people who don't have guns, you fucking shoot fucking children because because you're too much of a fucking bitch to actually fight people that can fight back. You always go after the weakest people. And you know what? I make it no secret. I have contempt for fascists. I'm proud of having contempt for them because they are scum. Every single one of these people are scum. They believe in an ideology that is a literal fucking death cult. They support some of the most evil fucking shit imaginable. And I don't fucking give a shit. I have nothing but contempt for fascists. They're some of the most evil people that's ever existed. And not to mention some of the biggest pussies. Like your fucking guy, fucking Hitler, could fucking blew his fucking brains out because he was scared shitless of the Soviet Union. Fucking Benito Mussolini was hung. How fitting for a fascist. The way, like every single fascist that dies deserves to die brutally, and I don't fucking care. You know what? If this gets taken down, fuck you. Fuck you. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a flying fuck. I'm not afraid of you. Everyone fucking of you pussies like wouldn't be able to fucking hold a gun anyway. Every one of you fucking pussies are either a overweight or fucking as skinny as a fucking twig. That's all you bitches that watch me are. A bunch of fucking pussies. You know what? I'm overweight. I will admit that. But I'm not gonna act all tough like some macho guy and fucking pretend I'm this badass on the fucking internet because I'm not gonna overcompensate for something that I fucking don't have. Like, I don't have to do that. Fucking fascists have to fucking overcompensate for everything because let's be honest, a lot of you guys, I won't say it, that'll get me banned, but still, yes. April 30th is a great holiday, and I will die on that hill. Follow your leader. Do yourself a favor and follow your leader. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, just look up "follow your leader" and you'll see what I'm talking about. Because I can't just say that word because this will get taken down for harassment. Because YouTube, well, oh yeah, the Darth Sinovia was threatening people with violence, even though I wasn't. Yeah, I've been ranting about fascists for like the past like fucking almost 30 minutes. Well, not 30 minutes, 15, but who's keeping track of time? I mean, this whole fucking year, a lot of shit has happened. Like, we're seeing the fascists get bolder. We're seeing the fascists like openly supporting like every act of violence against LGBTQ people. It's disgusting. I think people should stop tolerating these people. I think we need to stop fucking trying to have conversations with people like J.K. Rowling, who's actively spreading fascist ideas by pushing ideas like the trans question. We shouldn't fucking entertain any language that sounds similar to the Nazis. I think we need to stop debating fascists. Sorry. I think people who continue to debate fascists, you're wasting your time. Twitter, fucking, when you debate fascists, they'll just get their fucking followers to mass report you and you'll get your account suspended. On Facebook, you'll get your account restricted for 30 days or suspended. Don't fucking engage with fascists, block them, don't even talk to them because fascists fucking do nothing but waste your time. That's all they fucking do. Most of them are a bunch of Keyblade warriors anyway, who fucking don't do shit outside the internet, most of them. Now, there are fascists that are legitimately dangerous. Don't fucking think that there isn't dangerous fascists out there who aren't actually prepared for the inevitable collapse of the American empire. But fucking, so yeah. Yeah, if anyone has anyone to take it away with this, I've said this many times. Fuck fascists. Fuck fascism. Any fascist that actively supports the further oppression of LGBTQ plus people deserves nothing but your contempt. And I think these people, I cannot say what I think we should do to them, but because I will get this stream taken down. But I think these people should fucking follow their leader. That's basically what I'm saying. And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, just look it up. Follow your leader. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about when you say follow your leader. And you know what? I have no problem mocking these people because their fucking heroes are fucking pussies. They've always have been pussies and always will be pussies. Their heroes have either been killed violently by fucking or fucking basically blew their fucking brains out because they're too much of a fucking pussy to actually, to actually face the consequences of their actions. Like their fucking heroes are all fucking pussies. That's exactly what fucking fascists are in a nutshell. Oh yes, look at me. I'm going to follow the ideology of the guy that blew his brains out in a bunker because he was scared shitless of the Soviet Union. Oh, I'm going to follow the guy that basically was hung fucking upside down. Yeah, I'm going to follow that guy. And I don't fucking care. I will not hesitate and say fascists that off themselves is fucking hilarious. It'll never not be hilarious to fucking make jokes about Hitler or Mussolini. It'll never not be hilarious because it is fucking hilarious. Because fascists deserve worse. I will say that. They deserve much worse. They deserve every single bad thing that happens to them. And yeah, I think fascists are basic. Like I've said already, I've said it many times. Fuck fascism and fuck fascists. I haven't watched Star Wars Theory in ages. I don't have a strong opinion about them one way. I mean him one way or another. I really do not. I mean, this has been a really long year. We've seen many mass shootings, the fascist violence against marginalized groups has only intensified. Benjamin Netanyahu, the fucking fascist piece of shit who was prime minister of Israel, is back into power. The war in Ukraine, the fucking potential war with Taiwan, which I'm not going to completely write that out. The contradictions of capitalism is intensifying. The price of food has gone up. I mean, holy shit. Food that used to be like $2 where I work at for years went from 2 to fucking 4 goddamn dollars. Some of the stuff I had for years almost doubled in fucking price. Fucking Jordan Peterson is a fucking meme. I cannot take him seriously. I really cannot. You know, one thing that would be great way to end the year if, let's be real, Harry Kissinger died. If Harry Kissinger were to die, that would be a fucking great way to end the year. Maybe the god of death will give us a gift, but I won't count on it. I think we're going to eventually have a riot regarding food because it's getting ridiculous how pricey food's going to get. And you know what? I believe food's going to go up even more because there's certain sections of my store where I work at, can't say what store because I don't want fucking to dox myself because some fascists who's hate watching me will likely get people that they may or may not know to harass me at my job. So I won't fucking reveal any information where I work, but where I work there's some shelves that are empty. So it's becoming more and more difficult to hide that we're basically heading into a shortage. And other stuff, yeah, Jason David Frank died, which that was like holy shit. So, yeah, Jason David Frank, I could talk about Power Rangers maybe another day and what that franchise means to me, but that's not the time or the place because I've spent half of the stream talking about Star Wars, these so far, and almost 30 minutes talking about Marvel, and then I've been talking about ranting against fascists and fascism. Yeah. I think for those of you who are listening, we need to be prepared for the worst. Considering that fascism, I said this multiple times, and I'll say it again. Fascism is rising. It is truly rising, and it's getting worse by the year. And it's becoming difficult to ignore that we do have open fascism. Fascism is more open in the workplace where I'm at. Like you're not allowed to basically, like the way fascists basically treat its workers, the workers at my workplace are treated worse than they were before. Like, there's literally no room to relax anymore. Like, the place I used to work at was chill. The atmosphere was relaxing. Now it's fucking hostile. I would really love to talk about my job, but I cannot until I get another job. I cannot talk about my current job. Some people may have an idea, but I'm not going to say because there's no way in hell I am going to dox myself. Karl Marx, are you talking about the movie or the man himself? Because for the man himself, I don't have any thoughts on him. Though his writings, I prefer Lenin, Stalin, and Mao and Engels over Marx. Because it's Marx is a very difficult writer to understand. Yeah, Kevin Conroy is another actor person that died. Not even that long before, before Jason David Frank. Like, he was definitely the best Batman. It does need to be shut down, but the problem is, Americans a lot of Americans are just complacent to fascism. Americans' idea of fascism, the way it was taught in school, is mustache man bad. Like, anyone that basically says, "Oh, fascism is Adolf Hitler," is fucking no, 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 no. Fascism, there's a lot more to it than that. Hitler is just one form of fascism. Nazi form of fascism is not the only form of fascism. We have Zionism, we have Mussoliniite fascism, we have Chinese fascism in China, which is, Dangism. We have Americanism, which I would argue influenced Nazism. We have British fascism, which basically influenced America, which also influenced the Nazis. We also have Roman fascism, which we'd have to basically talk about fascism at a different time, because to explain fascism, explain it well, the origins, we'd have to literally go balls deep. Because if I had to be real, fascism, the roots of it, all leads to Rome in one way or another. There isn't a single fascist empire that has ever existed that was not inspired by Rome in some way. Everything is inspired by Rome. Which is interesting, because if fascism was so, why does fascism seek to emulate the empire that collapsed over 2,000 years ago? The Roman Empire is considered the model of basically of empires, yet it's the empire that basically collapsed and hasn't existed for thousands of years. I cannot help but find that interesting. Well, fascism, we'd have to talk about the origins of it, and I'm not nearly well read enough on that subject, because there's proto-fascism, which you could argue that America, back when it was first founded, was basically a proto-fascist state. But America would not exist without its parent, Great Britain, which Great Britain would not exist without Rome, and of course, and then you have the Spanish Empire. Like, all this stuff was inspired by Rome. All of it. It's the origins start with Rome. Oh, I didn't expect Jason to appear. What's up, Jason? How you doing? Wow. This is the longest stream I've ever done without guests in a long, long, long time. Jesus, I need some water. I don't want to lose my voice. Ugh. Anyway, just give me a second, people. I need to have a drink. Oh, fuck. Of course, I need to get to the part where I wanted to talk about. This is going to go over 2 hours, but I feel like I have to do this, whether I have guests or not. I have to do this. For me personally, I need to self-criticize. Whether this is the end of my stream or not, I don't care. I need to self-criticize because I feel like it's around that time. I don't feel like I've done enough this year when it comes to reading, when it comes to learning, when it comes to doing anything really. I have not met the progress that I've wanted. I wanted to learn a lot more in a short amount of time, and I just made unrealistic expectations for myself. Like 10 years worth of education in a year. That's like fucking insanity. I should have never have made that kind of New Year's resolution. And I'm just going to say it. New Year's resolutions are fucking bullshit. You should never fucking take them seriously. I made some critical errors this year too that I regret. I did things I regretted too. And I'm not going to make a New Year's resolution because that's just dumb. It's bullshit. I would like to at least make at least a realistic one to do better next year, to read more, and actually release videos that are on my fucking computer right now, and actually edit the videos that I have yet to release. Like I have a Star Wars review that's been sitting on my computer for almost 2 years that I have yet to release, and I would like to get some videos that I've already finished recording but haven't got to around to editing them because of motivation, because how big and long they are. I've made some promises and I did not deliver on them at Eat 2, and I feel like I should not make promises I do not keep, because that makes me a liar, and I do not like being made into a liar. I don't like calling people out for being a liar when I myself do it. So it's hypocritical for me to criticize other people for things that I've done myself. I think another criticism I'll give myself and myself alone, anybody else can do this themselves. I feel like the fixation on Caleb Maupin was something that I did way too fucking much. I should not have done as many streams as I did on Caleb Maupin. And I think the amount of times that I fixated on Be Liberal was also something I should not have done. I think this fixation with Haas was also something I should not have done. I should have done one video on Haas and that was it, not do 2 or 3. I don't remember how many streams I did about Haas. That was just ridiculous. I think I should have focused more on actual content rather than basically talking shit about people. I all right. I'll concede there, Jason, but I'm just criticizing myself, not no one else though. I think I do agree. So yeah. And yeah, Jason, yeah, we should criticize Caleb, but I'm just speaking for myself. I fixate on him too much. That's just my criticism of myself. Of course, my biggest criticism in general is not delivering what I promised. And that nothing, it's not serious. It's just reviews and shit, but I still feel like I shouldn't promise something unless I intend to deliver. And I want to make it a point where I'm not going to promise anything next year. I'm not going to announce I'm going to do something unless I actually release it. So when I'm releasing something and I know it's done, then I'll announce it. I'm not going to announce any new projects in the future because that just makes me out to be a liar. I mean, for God's sake, I've announced my 2003 TMNT review half a decade ago. I finally fucking recorded the damn thing, but I have yet to edit the thing fully. So I want to get some stuff I planned on doing years ago out of the way before I actually do any more projects. I also would like to, get some more reviews up because my content output this year has just been low. I know people don't care about my Star Wars reviews or my Star Trek reviews or my nonfiction reviews, but I feel like I'm a review channel and I haven't done that much reviewing this year. I've been mainly doing streams. I can look it up on my channel right now. It's been mostly streams. Not that there's anything wrong with that initially, but that's not what I built my channel on. I built my channel on reviews, and I feel like I should return to my roots because that is what a lot of things that people went to my channel for before I started doing reviews. And even though my streams are more popular, to be honest, but whatever. They are. It is what it is. And I've just been struggling for the past 2 years to build my channel because basically, I make this no secret. I know some of you who are newer to my channel will not understand. My channel basically was destroyed back in 2019. And I've been struggling since to basically rebuild a channel that was basically destroyed. I don't mean literally destroyed. I mean literally in a sense where the bulk of my audience that once watched my Star Wars content, my reviews, left because I dared take a stand against racism and fandom. And as a result, my channel was a ghost town. Barely anyone watched me. I'm at peace with that decision. I have no regrets with that decision, but I've been trying to basically rebuild my channel from the ground up. Yes, I have a lot of subscribers still. Well, thousands, almost 2,000 is a lot for me, but it doesn't change the fact that I literally had to basically rebuild my channel from scratch. And 2020, I'm not getting into any details because I'm not in liberty to say what happened behind the scenes. I have no right to say it. But let's just say that changed everything. When I started basically going independent, you guys, those of you who watched me like in late 2020 will know what happened. Like my mother died and be liberal. Well, I'm not even going to get into that can of worms because I don't want to talk about him, but it's relevant. The first time I've ever went solo was on the last Ewoks Unhinged stream that I did, where I actually felt proud of being part of that channel. So for me, that's when I started to basically grow away from that pre political era that my channel is currently on to the current, and it's been a struggle because I basically, how do I balance my political content with my reviews? And that's been a struggle for almost 2 years now because not only do I read for pleasure, there's a lot of books I need to read, a lot of crap I need to read because there's a lot I still haven't learned, and in all honesty, it's a little overwhelming. So in 2023, I would like to get my fucking shit going. Like I like to get more reviews up. Now, do I promise I will review everything I read? No, I won't. Because some of the stuff I read, I don't know if people will be interested. I might review some stuff. Like there's some books I'm looking at right now as I'm recording this that I'm not going to tell you what the books are, but I'll be talking about them in the future. I would like to. Like I've been doing experimentation, like My Star Wars reviews, I feel like, have been greatly improved since I have started taking notes, which those of you who are wondering why it's longer, it's because I've been able to retain the information. Because if I forget what I said in my, let's say while I'm recording, I just go back to my notes. That's basically what I do now. And as a result, it takes me longer to get the reviews out. And of course, not to mention, it doesn't help the fact that I've been under a lot of stress since late 2021. For those of you who watched my streams about my current situation with Social Security, will know exactly what I'm talking about. So that stress for the past year and a half is the main reason why I have not read as much. I'm not making excuses. I'm just basically explaining why my review intake content, it just isn't as much as it was like before 2020. Like, I don't think I have it in me to do 2 Star Wars reviews a week. Since I'm done with self-criticizing, if you guys are curious, hey, Darth Sinovia, how did you release so many damn reviews like in almost a year, almost nonstop? Well, there's a story about that for those of you who are interested. In 2018, when I when I did Star Wars content, I had a video out every week. I don't know how the fuck I did that. How did I accomplish that? I started by recording many Star Wars reviews in advance. So by the time I like moved out of my place that I was currently at, I literally had half a month's worth of reviews already recorded. So that's the reason why. Not to mention the books I read were shorter in length, and not to mention I read comics. As soon as I was done, I recorded. And there's times I read 2 books a day, so I got 2 reviews done in the same day. So that's how I managed to do so much content ready. So I add content like 2 or 3 months in advance. So if I were to slow down and reading at one point, I had nothing to worry about. And I'm not going to lie, I got burned out after doing it for a year because it was overwhelming trying to get that much reviews fucking out. I cannot do that again. That just, oh God, 2 reviews a week is impossible. I don't recommend anyone doing that. And I have to be honest, my reviews suffered as a result because I was recording review after review after review, and I didn't really think about the books that I've just read. So I did things the stupid way. I recorded them as soon as I was done finishing the book, rather than doing what I do now is writing stuff down as I'm reading the chapters or reading the book after I've done reading it, depending on the book itself. So I did experiment with both methods, writing things down after I finish the book or writing things down as I'm reading it. And both methods work for me. It depends on the book when I'm reading. So in case you're wondering, for those of you who are interested, how did I get so many reviews out? That's your answer. I will not do that again. I cannot do that again. Though there is a review that I recorded. It's a nonfiction that I've done way back last year that I have yet to upload. I haven't edited it yet. It's not a long video though. I don't review movies. Movies are not something I have any interest in reviewing. Jesus. I went from self-criticizing to explaining how I recorded so many reviews in a short amount of time. I can't believe I did that. See, I'm basically at my limit. My New Year's resolution to do better. I can't do anything more than that to say I'll do better, because New Year's resolutions are bullshit. The best New Year's resolution is to do better. Maybe just finish at least 2 books a month. At least start with something reasonable because that's possible. Manage my time better. Don't waste so much time on social media. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm satisfied with the way this stream turned out. I mean, I've been going on for over 2 hours, and I did not have any guest on, which, depending on how people feel about it, could be a good thing or a bad thing. Now, for those of you who are watching, I'm just going to offer this one more time because if anyone's unable to attend, I'm just going to shut this stream down. Is anyone interested in coming on? I'm just going to ask one last time because if not, I'm going to have to stop this stream because if I continue any further without anybody else on, I'm just going to lose my voice. So I'll just give you guys a minute or two to decide if you want to be part of it. Though if you're for a man, ooh, I doubt you'll show up here. I have no idea what my last meal of 2022. I'm probably just going to, who knows? I understand that. I mean, the whole reason I did myself for 2 hours in the first place was the stuff I'm talking about, I would not be able to. Anyway, it's okay, Jason. You don't have to show up. It's just I figure I'd offer it now because I can't do this any much more. I'm doing this for 2 hours. I'm surprised I haven't lost my voice yet. Now, let's see. Does anyone have any more questions? I might as well ask. It's just it because it looks like no one's coming on. Let's see. Any further questions? Anyone? Before because this will be the last video of the year, so I'll answer at least one question. I'll just give you a little bit. What's your favorite burrito? Hey, I'm not done yet. Let's see, favorite burrito. Call me Oh, let's see, favorite burrito. Just bean and cheese. It's simple. Favorite Halo game. Halo 2. Okay, hold on. What was your question, Animation Fan 03? Allah, sorry. Gotta look. Favorite. I don't think you caught that. Okay, I'll answer it again because it doesn't matter. My favorite game is Halo 2. I know it's cliche to say Halo 2 because Halo 2 is a game I have nostalgia for. It was a fun game to play back when it came out, and I like the maps, even though the campaign is fucking bullshit. It's still a fun game to play. Christian nationalists, well, if it's basically how I feel about all fascists, they can get fucked. Fuck Christian nationalists. They're a bunch of anti-Semitic scum. Okay, I'm just gonna. Okay, I'll answer your question. My question was what was the beginning of your Star Wars book reviews? Oh, are you asking the very first? Hold on. Yes, my question about the music that was playing at the beginning of your Star Wars book reviews. Are you asking about my current intro or the intro that came before that? Because I have three. I will. Okay, I'll brace. Okay, before my 30th review, I had no intro. My intro for like 22 reviews was the Next Generation opening. That was not something that's cringe. Don't fucking mix Star Wars with Star Trek. Don't do so. I was just getting into Star Trek at that point, so yeah, and I like the music. As for the second opening, which is probably my favorite one, but people were complaining it was too long, and I figured, you know what, I should just accommodate their request and just make it shorter. But the theme that I was using, I wanted to make it you choose a song that could be basically used in a way where I don't feel like it ends suddenly. So I just you chose the Mando song from Republic Commando, and it stuck. Let's see, um, all right. Have never played any of the Half-Life games. Let's see, favorite. I can't comment. I haven't played that many Wolfenstein games. I'm letting you know the new Jedi Order series sub money is literally 19 books. It's a long series, so if you're not ready to commit to such a large series, I wouldn't. I'm just warning you now. It's gonna take you a long time to get through it. It's about as long as Wheel of Time. My favorite Dan Insman soundtrack, Batman Returns, or the first Batman movie. It's fucking hard. His music is a masterpiece. I love those soundtracks for those two films. I love the soundtrack of those two movies. I mean, I think they're great. As for the movies themselves, I don't know. I have no comment on. I haven't watched enough of his films. Okay, one last question for everyone. One more question. No, because I mean it. One more question for everyone who's like is asking one more, and I'll answer it the best I can. One more for each person. Nope, I have not. I wish I can give you a better an answer other than that. Favorite Pixar film. This is cliche, but Toy Story, the first one. It's a childhood classic. It's a movie that I have a lot of nostalgia for. Let's see. I'm just waiting for other people to ask. Let's give people some other time. Anything else? It's good sub money, but I'm just letting you know it's a long series. The New Jedi Order series is one of the longest book series ever. I've only played the first one, so I can't comment what I think of them. Though I've heard really good things about them, and I would love to play them. Now, remember, one more question for each person, because I if I keep answering questions, I'll be here for all night, and I can't stay up that long. I have no. I'm not a He-Man fan, but Transformers. It depends on what Transformers you're talking about. Beast Wars is still my jam. Transformers Prime, despite me basically being a Decepticon stan, I still think it's a good show. I think it has good writing. Okay, I'll. This will be the last question I'll answer because this if I my favorite topping is pepperoni. Okay, I'm sorry. I've already answered your question. Attack of the Menace. You're gonna have to ask me another time. Anyway, I'm getting tired. It's 1 a.m. in the morning where I'm at. Everyone, thank you for sitting by and watching this long stream. Hopefully, next year I'll do better. Happy New Year. Stay safe. Down with fascism. Long live the RA. Long live Hamas. Oh God, I can't believe I'm saying that. And death to fascism. Death to fascism. Death to fascism. Death to fascism. Later, everyone.